All right, looks like we are live. What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolfbrother Mythos Kushranada from the channel Frost and Fist, and welcome to this test stream. So I've never actually done a setup where I'm painting and streaming at the same time, but I figured I'd give it a try and see how it goes. And if this is something that, if it works, you guys let me know, and I might do more of these sometime in the future. We'll see. But one of the reasons why I wanted to try this out is because I've been wanting to do this for a while as I don't know, just a potential for the channel in the future. And what up, brother Archer, my man? But I might make this a future thing. I might do this a little more often, depending on how it goes, and if my setup can handle it. We'll see what my computer thinks and how my internet handles this, and my ability to paint on camera. Because when I do tutorials, I have a horrible tendency to go off screen. So we'll see if it works. But another reason why I wanted to do this, because I won't actually. Yep, that is a Spellcrow jump pack. Some of my favorites. I love using the Spellcrow jump packs. And I think I'm going to keep with the consistency that all my white scars that are non-Primaris jump packs will probably be in these. The other reason why I wanted to do a little something tonight, guys, is because I will not actually be joining Freak for tomorrow night's show. So, some of you know, tomorrow is my lovely Lily's birthday. And even though we can't go out and, paint the town red because of all the emergency lockdowns and stuff like that, still going to be a good opportunity to spend some time with my lovely Lily. So, happy birthday, Lily, and I'll be spending some time with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome, love. Happy Thursday. I had no idea it was, Thursday. You know what? I'm caught up with the class now. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Got the X-Gear Commander, the Smash Captain Archer in the chat. So right now I've been working on, this is number 4, just needs his head and his head and his shoulder pads, and then the basing, and then of course I got to do the plasma glow and the plasma pistol. But this is number 4 of my Assault Marines. So since I've got number 4 knocked out of the way, I'm going to do the Sergeant, and then I will have a fully completed squad. So what I've done, I'm doing these a little differently than I do my other white scars. So I did the Gray Seer, and I did the little spray of, airbrushing some white on top of the Gray Seer, very light mist, keeping it around this angle, because I only want the light at the highest points here. But instead of going back with the Space Wolves Gray like I have on my other models and coming in and, doing the airbrush shading, what I'm doing is, and this has got Mark IV legs, so it's not a great example, but here on these Mark III legs, you can see the Mark III armor's got lots and lots of panel lines and nooks and crannies. And I did a test model of this, and when I did the airbrush shading, it kind of obscured, it was hard to see. They didn't really stand out, the little armored plating bits. So what I decided to do instead was I stripped it, of course, but I did the highlights with the white on top, but instead of shading down with the Space Wolves Gray, I went in and panel lined all those armor segments to really make them pop. So that's what I've been doing on my Assault Marines here. And of course, these are Spellcrow backpacks. These are Mark III bodies, and then because I ran out of Mark III bodies, the Sergeant's got a set of Mark III legs, because I keep using things for different conversions and stuff like that. And then I've got a Betrayal of Calth pistol, and these claws here. I know they're claws, but I'm going to be using them as an overly fancy power fist, just because I love the pose and pointing on it. Oh, we've got Brother Thomas in the chat. What's howling with you? We got the Weather Pig. G'day, g'day. Good to see you, brothers. So yeah, what I was saying is that I will actually not be joining Brother Freak tomorrow for his chat, because it is Lily's birthday tomorrow. So he will be doing the one-man band thing. And I figured that if he's going to take one for the team and do a show all by himself, or at least without me, and I've been wanting to do this kind of streaming setup and stuff for a while to see if I have the ability to do some painting on camera and see if I can do it without it looking like, if it comes out hopefully somewhat decently, then maybe I might do this kind of thing more often in the future. You guys working on anything? Anybody in the chat got some hot models on the way? Hey, Freak is going to need some help. And you know what? That is usually the best form of help is you guys in the chat keeping him some company. So if you guys can do that for me, keep my brother some company, that would be most excellent. I know this is going to be super entertaining, guys. Coming here to watch a mediocre painter do a lot of panel lining, but hey, it's what I got for Thursday. Freak, I'm not sure what he's going to be. I don't know if he ever got around to building. I don't think he has because he's been so swamped this week. But he said he's going to try and build up his intercessors. So he's got some Imperial Fist to paint for you tomorrow night. So that'll be cool. He may even, and I'm not going to drop any names because I don't know if this person has agreed or not, but he may even have a clutch guest for you guys tomorrow. So that'll be really cool. I know panel lining, super exciting painting, guys. Painting the base of my Witch King. He and his monster are done. That is awesome. So he is not going to be riding on the head of the troll anymore, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, although I imagine your ride could get a little bit unstable riding on the head of an ogre. Dave says, dude, it's Thursday, not Friday night. Yep. Yeah, it is definitely a Thursday. I've been wanting to try one of these paint and chill kind of videos for a while, especially since our patrons, beautiful patrons, hooked me up with a camera a little while back. So now I have this secondary camera here, which is the one on the models, arguably my better camera. I've been wanting to try one of this painting stream kind of setups for a while, a little bit of a paint and chat. I really, it's not quite. One day I'll get practiced and I'll be able to say that I'm doing a little something like Brother Pete's on the bench. That's kind of what I would like to emulate one day. But I've been wanting to try one of these for a while, and I'm actually not going to be here with Freak tomorrow night. So, yeah, I'm hoping that doing a little bit of a chat here will, somewhat make up for it. I'll still be contributing to the team a little bit. You know what I mean? A bit early, ain't it, boys? A full day early. See, that's what it is. I'm just trying to be a little bit early. No more troll riding. I think the Fell Beast will be a lot more comfortable. Yeah, I imagine just trying to stay hang on to the troll while he's running around chasing after hobbits is probably not very comfortable, my man. I don't think they build shock absorbers on them things. You know what I mean? So, a bit of panel lining on a Thursday. I think that GW should lease its models so that third parties can officially produce their minis. They actually kind of did it in the 90s. I had no idea that they let other people sell their stuff. Well, I mean, other than third-party stores, but other makers. That's pretty cool. In fact, Dave, I wouldn't mind if you told me a little story about that. Who did they make? Who did they let make what? That's kind of cool. I've been wanting to try streaming. I have that webcam I use on your streams. Man, I remember actually when we first planned on having you on the show, you were like, yeah, I just got a new camera just for streaming. That's been a hot minute ago, brother. We definitely got to get you on it, man. Especially since you've grown so much as a presenter lately, man. I have to find the name of them, but Squid and what's his name did a video on it. Squidmar? then I can show up and mess around. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, harassment's a form of love, I guess, right? So definitely hop on over to Weather Pig streams and give them a good harassing as a form of love. Snipe and Wib. I'm not familiar with them. I have to check them out. Okay, okay. Well, there's that kind of harassment, Zane, and there's, the kind of playful harassments we do here on the stream. Don't go around saying that the kind of harassment you do at work is something we told you to do. The only, the only kind we condone is I told you to go over to Weather Pig stream and give him a harassment. Yeah, man, definitely. Weather Pig, get involved, man. I would love to see you do some streaming. And now the time is ripe right now. Everybody's home. Everybody's doing more streaming, more content, except us. Because Freak and I are both, still working a ton. So we would love to be able to take advantage of this time that everybody's home to pump out more content. But here lately, getting out the one video, the one live stream a week seems to be all we can do. Except this week, apparently you guys are getting two. And next week, we haven't announced it yet because we were waiting on some details to settle, but I think it's okay to go ahead and talk about it now. We're actually looking at next weekend for our Saturday UK-friendly live stream. And we've got a pretty brilliant guest who's going to be there. We had on Big Mac Dan Skull before. We had on some Edict Beer. And, of course, we had on Spud and Elstonation. So we've had on some phenomenal painters before for our Saturday live chats. And we're going to continue on that theme of raw talent. We're looking at having, if you're a fan of Twitch streams, Instagrams, the Crimson Painter of Twitch and Instagram, and also of Honor and Heresy on our live streams next Saturday. So that is pretty cool. Now, of course, you guys know the world's been crazy. Anything can happen between now and then, but it looks like it's going to happen. So, pretty brilliant guest. Freak and I are pretty stoked and excited. Anything for Zane's attention. I told you, you told kids to do drugs, drink paint. You run a child fight club, and me finding true love is something you guys don't want to take credit for. Fine, you can keep credit for all the negative things and not the one positive thing. Well, if I have to, old chum. If I have to. So Zane, my man, Dave, y'all working on anything cool? I think you said you were taking a bit of a rest from painting for a little bit, Zane. Have you done anything cool in VR lately? I saw a couple of Call of Duty videos, I think, on your channel. I believe they were Call of Duty. Although my YouTube consumption... Consumption? What the hell is consumption? My YouTube consumption, I've been able to watch way fewer videos since this COVID-19 stuff started. Just been super busy. Crazy Edge highlighting Ultramarine intercessors. Edge highlighting, that is a painful task. That, I mean, your models do pop, they do look good when you're done, but man, that's a painful task. I don't know why, I am, even though you're making kind of the same motion, you're making tiny lines. I'm so much more comfortable with panel lining than I am with edge highlighting, and I have no idea why. I suppose when you're panel lining, you can use a somewhat very thin paint and just use the action of the wet paint and rely on it to run into the recesses as you paint it in. With edge highlighting, you have to be more precise, I feel. Although, hell, I'm not a technical painter. I could just be saying nonsense right now. Panel lining. So kind of like what a lot of people do with washes, or I guess some people would call this a pin wash, although slightly different. I'm painting into the recesses where I want the lines between the armor to stand out. So like, again, this Mark IV isn't as good of an example, but if you take a look at this Mark III here, and you can see all the different lines between the armor segments of the legs, and I went in there and painted in the lines between each armor plate segment, just because I really wanted it to pop. Kind of, to me, gives it more of an armored appearance, you know? And so I wanted them to be obvious. I wanted them to pop. So I went in and physically painted that in. And then here, I did it again, even though the armor segments are a bit different here in the front, by painting it into the leg joins and stuff like that. It helps break up kind of the segments where the gold meets the white. Okay. It's a scale model thing, shading on armor. Yeah, basically. Let's see. You tried the free Beat Saber fitness levels yet? I have not. Been doing BR to stay kind of active. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it is. It is a lot like a pin wash. It's just I guess when I'm doing panel lining, I think of it as less liquidy than a traditional pin wash. Could be. I mean, it's probably the same thing, and I'm just thinking of it differently in my mind. Yeah, I think so too, Archer. That's why I've been kind of doing it. It's because I feel like it really makes the white armor pop more. Now, if I were a thinking man, I would have had the couple completed ones sitting here so I could show you guys what I've been doing with it. But I've been using a lot more on these guys of my Vallejo pigments here. It's a dark red ochre dust, and it goes really well with my red Martian sand for the kind of red desert effect I'm doing. And so I've been dusting it in along the legs a lot more, around this front section of the torso plating, all around the legs, and then pretty heavily around the thrusters, the top and bottom vents of the thrusters. I don't know why I wanted to weather these guys a lot more than the others, but I felt like maybe with these style of jump packs, as they're rocketeering over the board, it would be kicking up more of that desert dust and sand. And my thought process. Plus, I don't know, I haven't had a really good play with weathering powders. I mean, I do it a little bit on my other White Scar stuff, but to get in there and just heavily weather, I haven't really tried messing with that yet. So I felt like it'd be a good opportunity. Just an excuse to play with paint, I guess. On most colors, you can use Belisarium Gray. On white, probably wouldn't work. So what I'm actually using here is the shade color I use for all of my white scars. It's actually Space Wolves Gray with just like a couple drops of Basilicum Gray. And it gives me a result I like pretty well. Morning, Trouble. Good morning, Shadow Cat. Good to see you. You are up early. You and Dave. Or rather, you're either up early or going to bed late. Either way, I hate interrupting y'all's sleep, but I love when you're here. So this is just kind of a little test experiment stream to see if I can somewhat succeed at being able to paint on camera. I tell you guys all the time, I am not a great painter. You're not going to see a lot of brilliant technique here. This is my ham-handed attempts at painting on camera for you guys. So could probably use it for the panel lining and it would work. Okay, the Basilicarum Gray. Just don't mess up on a white model. So my secret for that, because I was quite frustrated. And you guys probably heard on my White Scars Dreadnought, I had a few mistakes that extremely frustrated me. But I learned some things doing that makes my panel lining a lot more forgiving. And that's that I do all my panel lining with contrast paint. And the contrast paint, does a great job being just liquidy and jelly enough to where it flows into the cracks, but without running all over my model. It's got a great consistency for that, but also, just because of the nature of contrast paints, it does a great job that if I make a mistake, I just take my slightly damp brush and wipe it off. And I mean, if I get to it quick enough, it doesn't even really stain the model at all. So it's not, I mean, to go back over with the previous color, actually it's not bad at all. Going back to bed after a wee break. Wow, you are up in the middle of the night, about to go back to bed, and you chose to come in to say hi to me. That means a lot to me, Shadow Cat. Hope you have a great sleep. Okay, guys, so I sleep well tonight. Tell me the name of an alternative early manufacturers that produced Warhammer minis besides Citadel. It's bugging me. Yeah, does anybody know who produced Warhammer minis besides Warhammer in the 90s? A wee bit of advice, paint the jump pack on its own. Man, I had that not forethought. I had that thought after I had already glued them together. All 10 or all 11 of them, by the way. And then when I went to paint the first one, I was like, man, this would have been so easier if I had left the jump pack off. So, hindsight 2020, right? They either did the first Rhino or the first Land Raider. I vaguely remember. Marauder. The Pale Orc. Hey, my wolf brother. Man, good to see you. Pale Orc. Guys, this guy has been cranking out some great content lately, especially if you like a bit of orky goodness. He's got a tutorial up on how he paints his Orchimedes. I would definitely recommend checking it out. Now, Armorcast, the Nerd Life is watching. Hey there, brother. Brother Richard of the Nerd Life. The man who builds all my Forge World stuff. Armorcast, is that the name you were looking for, Dave? Sounds pretty reasonable to me. Of course, I wasn't playing back in the 90s. Ah, it was Armorcast. Awesome. Awesome. I haven't done the boots yet. So, Pale Orc, my brother. So, one of the things, unfortunately... Wow, that is a really fat panel line. Hey, that's a great example there of what I was talking about, though. If you mess up panel lining with contrast, if you get to it with a damp brush quickly enough, then, it just cleans right up. Oh man, that is so cool, Richard, my brother. Man, please, please, please bill me when you get a chance, man. Appreciate you hooking a brother up. Man, I sure glued in that plasma pistol at an awkward angle to get to these boots. That's all right, though. Cleaned up okay. So as a pretty cool little thing that the Nerd Life is doing for me, if you guys saw this really cool bike that's been going around a lot of people's Pinterests and Facebooks and Instagram, there was a guy a while back who converted an Armiger Warglaive and some Orc truck wheels into this really badass attack bike. It was really cool looking. And it looked a little bit like the motorcycle that's part of the Tumbler in the Batman movies. It just looked super awesome. And my man Richard found a 3D print file for that, and I just thought it was such a cool looking model. And of course, I don't plan on taking it to any events or anything like that. It's just a paint up for funsies, or maybe in a friendly in my living room kind of game. But Brother Richard's going to print me out one, so I think that's pretty awesome. An Armiger Warglaive as a bike. Is that a bike? And that bike? Do you mean a wolf? Yeah, that is a super cool bike. I have been in love with that thing ever since I saw the conversion on Instagram. Minis, which features Armorcast Citadel. I think Armorcast was based in the U.S., although he had to shut the business down. The dude died. That's a shame. That's a shame. It would be cool to have some of this stuff manufactured stateside. Especially since they definitely got customers over here. Of course, I don't think anybody will be expanding business anytime soon. Except the toilet paper companies. They're probably raking in a fortune right now. I'm amazed that GW doesn't have factories in New Zealand, Australia, and the U.S. Yeah, from what I understand, they do have pretty big customer bases here. Armorcast is still around. That's pretty big news. I had no idea. In fact, I had just learned about Armorcast. Watch the Snipe and Whip video, Retro 40K Resin Retrospective, Codex compliant. It's a really great retro video on 40K. I'm going to have to check that out. They still have a website, and you can get some pretty cool stuff like weapon effects. That sounds pretty neat. This is my Basilicanum Gray. So I've been using this kind of gray in my vents for my jump packs and in some of the hoses. But also doing the Basilicanum Gray and then doing the weathering powders on top. I think they make a pretty good combination of some clogged up steel. They have a website. Let's see. Catch you guys. See you later. Be safe, live long, and prosper. You too, Shadow Cat. Thank you so much for stopping by in the middle of your sleep. We really appreciate you. I had one of the Armorcast Baneblade Shadow Swords. It was really cool. That sounds awesome. Sounds like it's my girl's bedtimes. So, tomorrow you will have the freak and likely one guest. So I need everybody to make sure to, come show the freak some love while I'm out. Out hooking the lady Lily up with some sushi. And watching some movies together. For her birthday. Hellwork says he had an Armorcast Warhound. I didn't even know you had a Warhound, dude. That sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, somehow in all the conversations we have about all the cool stuff that you have, you left out that you had a Titan. Motorized Scooter Orc? Scoter Orc? Freak's the main reason we show up. That's awesome. Hey, man. Show him lots of love. Show him lots of love indeed. Hey, Freak's the main reason I show up. And all you beautiful people as well. After all, he's the man who does all the technical stuff. I just show up and run my mouth. He's obviously the valuable one of this dynamic duo. Armorcast makes orc pimps. That's awesome. And a two-headed robo-orc. The Armorcast Warhound isn't really a Warhound. Alright. Most of the old stuff holds up, but the Armorcast Titans are a bit too goofy for me. I'm going to have to take a look-see when I get a chance. You guys know that I am in love with all the new... being a relatively new player within the last 5 years, I'm in love with all new sculpts. I don't have a lot of emotional tie to the old sculpts and stuff like that. However, I don't mind checking some of this stuff out because, hey, if it looks cool, it looks cool. You know what I mean? I like that era's Marines, though. It was back in the 80s, Zane. And most of the tanks, and even the old Termies. Yeah, I've got a couple of Rogue Trader era Terminators I got from Devil's Brush Gaming, which are pretty cool. I like those old sculpts. With them thick shoulders. Thick with 4 C's. That's how you know it's serious. Eight people watching. Man, I know this is just a test stream, guys, but you know what? Even though it's a test stream, I really appreciate everybody turning up. This is definitely more than I expected for having no communication about it, no scheduling, just a random time. Your Wolf Brother putting on the camera. You guys showed up to drop me some love. I appreciate that, brothers and sisters. Plus, I mean, some time I can dedicate to painting, which admittedly doesn't happen very often during the week. So, actually getting some time in the Monday through Friday spot where I can lay down some paint, that's kind of cool. Especially since I've been so swamped lately. I'm really, really looking forward to this weekend because I ended up working Saturday and Sunday, and this is the first time I've actually worked 7 days in a while. I used to do it pretty frequently as an officer before I got promoted to management, but now I've gotten a little spoiled, and doing a 7-day work week just like it seems like too much at the moment. Of course, it doesn't help that I'm salary, so 7-day work week doesn't earn me any extra money. Pale Orc says, I really should be doing hobby, but I can't be bothered. Man, I know that feeling. I have 8 bikers and 40 Gretchen to finish off. Ugh, I need to get it done. Man, brother, I know the feeling so bad. See, doing White Scars, I'm supposed to have a huge bike-heavy army. And right now, I've got 3 regular bikes, 5 veteran bikes, 1 bike with an apothecary, 1 bike with my con. I should have more bikes, but I just got burnt out on bikes. I'll be honest with you. Just got burnt out on bikes. I've got 3 scout bikes sitting over here. Got an HQ bike. I got 3 attack bikes just sitting here. And I've got some more because I tried to build up a squad of 9, the max size, like 9 Outrider bikes. I've got the other half of that bike squad. So I've got 3 that are completed of my regular bike squad. I've got 6 just sitting in the box. And I just can't be bothered right now. I want to focus on everything other than my bikes right now. I've got Centurions I need to paint up. I've got, and this is just my White Scar stuff, I've got an Invictor Tactical Warsuit I need to paint up as my immediate. And I'm working on 11 Assault Marines because I wanted to build up 1 extra one just in case. I want to split them into 2 5-man units. So I wanted to make an extra sergeant. So yeah, I'm trying to focus on all my White Scar stuff other than bikes right now, just because I feel like I need a bike break. I have a guy who gave his kid who plays at our store a full 1,000 points, maybe a bit more, of original Marines and tanks. Wow, now those are some pretty big relics. Maybe he just thinks because they're the older models that, that they're not as value. It's okay to just, make that, the kiddos army. Back in the early 90s, I built a White Scar commission of 110 bikes. What? I still hate looking at them. Man, of course, I admit I go through burnout, I feel like, more easily than most painters. A 5-man or 10-man squad is just like grueling to me. So, I admit I'm weak versus most hobbyists. But if you doing 110 bikers, man, hell, that is a massive squad or army. Jesus, no wonder why you're not a fan of tanks. Jesus. That is some crazy stuff. And plus, you got 40 Gretchen to finish off Pale Orc. Man, 40 Gretchen. I assume that's the kind of thing that, well, I assume that's the kind of thing most people don't spend a lot of time on, is 40 Gretchen. However, I know Spud in the Chilling Network Discord, he's been really taking his time to make Gretchen look like something something awesome and artistic. You know, he's been really taking his time with them. I think he said it took him a week to paint up 6 Gretchen. That seems like a lot of attention to detail there. They have some really cool guardsman substitutes. That's awesome. And they sell clap traps, like from Borderlands. That sounds pretty cool. Look at me, I'm dancing. Oh, we've got Wolfwraith, massive community painter. Welcome, Wolfwraith. Good to see you, buddy. The early 90s. I'm going to make a new joke that I can't reveal my age for the well-being of Freak. It's funny. 28mm claptraps. You know? It's probably not something I should be saying, but man, I'm really excited at the prospect of buying some claptraps. Without context, I'm sure people would be wondering what is the show even? That is pretty cool. I was legally drinking in the 90s. Well, I was not legally drinking. I was singing along to Vanilla Ice in the 90s. Yep. That's my guilty pleasure. I love Claptrap. I know he's one of my favorite characters. Also, once again, that statement without context is kind of hilarious. But yeah, I also love Claptrap. He is definitely one of my favorite characters. The models look like they are older quality, but still pretty decent. Seriously, I'm going to have to buy me some Claptraps. Wasn't there an Autobot named Claptrap? You know what? I watched a lot of Transformers growing up, and I just don't remember ever hearing Autobot Claptrap before. I feel like that's something I would probably remember. I never finished Borderlands 3. 2 was too good to stop. See, I need to go back and finish 2 so I can play 3. My problem is that I got to a point where I had started Borderlands 2 multiple times, but then for whatever reason I got separated from whoever I was playing with at the time. You know, for instance, I was playing with my brother Cloud for a while, but then he got a job on a completely different shift than me, and so we didn't get to play. My brother Darklight, you know, we lived together at the time. We were playing, and then we stopped living together. You know, he moved out and we moved away, and so that play never finished. Even Lily and I started because we finished Borderlands 1 together, and we were going to move on to Borderlands 2, and she just lost interest. So I'm just like, I've started this game like 3 times now with this, and you guys, I mean, you guys probably don't feel the same way, but for me, Borderlands was always better with someone, you know, with a player too, or you know, as a group, it was always more fun. Or they have a mystery machine. So yeah, once I had played with other people, I didn't want to go back to playing without other people. I think he was in the original Transformers movie as a Junkacon. Gosh, I freaking love the Transformers animated movie. Guys, I think I could still probably do it, but there was a time, guys, where I used to watch that every year on my birthday, and I've really slacked off the last couple of birthdays. What am I doing with my life? But I would watch Transformers, the animated movie, every single year on my birthday. And I, for the longest time, and I think I could still do it, was able to quote every single movie, a line in the movie, as they were saying it with the right timing. And we have this friend of ours who's so in love with Transformers. His nickname is Rodimus, and he has Transformer tattoos all over. Like one arm, he's got the Autobot. One arm, he's got the Decepticon. He's got an actual mural of Optimus Prime going down his leg. I mean, that man's committed. And when I mentioned that I could quote every line in the movie, for some reason he took that as a challenge. And I will never, ever doubt how much this man loves Transformers. And I am not the biggest collector or whatever by any means. I was proud that day I was able to quote the movie better than him. And I think that might be one of my nerdiest achievements. And to this day, even, I still listen to the soundtrack on my phone all the time. Things like, You've Got the Touch, Dare. Classic songs from Transformers the movie. It's kind of as funny that I fell into collecting Warhammer, because I could easily have fallen down the rabbit hole of collecting Transformers. And I've been broke from that instead of being broke from Warhammer. I lose motivation on single player games. I really want to finish Nier. Yeah, same. I definitely, and part of it is workload and stuff like that. I definitely don't have the time to game as much as I used to. But yeah, I often fall off the wagon when it comes to trying to finish single player games. And it's crazy because as an RPG fan, I love the big games. But I have to decide so often now, like, do I want to play this game? Because can I commit to a huge 80, 100-hour game? Like, it has taken me a long time of playing to work through. I've got like 90 hours in Dragon Age Inquisition right now. And that has been just months of play right there. If I ever get a second monitor, maybe hit a sub milestone, I want to open a Twitch page to force me to finish games. Hey, that'd be cool. Something, and I know most of you guys are here for the hobbying, the model hobby that we do. But something I was talking about is, Lily has been wanting to open a Let's Play channel. And she mostly plans on doing stuff on the computer, but has been, kind of tossed around the idea the other night about getting a capture card to do certain games on the PlayStation. And I told her, man, I would love that, because if you get a capture card for your channel, I think I'd be kind of interested in maybe trying to do a couple of Let's Plays myself. What do you guys think? You guys think any of you would be interested in seeing not on this channel, of course, I would want to keep hobby and video games separate, but anybody here be interested in seeing a Frosty or Fisty Let's Play? I know Freak has mentioned being interested in Let's Plays a couple times before. And he wants to do games that he knows is going to make him salty, like Getting Over It. Now, I don't hate myself, and I know the tightness I get in my chest when I start getting frustrated, that gamer rage. So I will not be doing that. But, I kind of want to play something. I play Diablo 3 like other people play WoW, hooked on some Diablo 3. Man, I had a few friends that were hooked on the Diablo 3 for a while. So I can definitely see that. Why the heck would you get a capture card for a dang PlayStation? What's the point? Well, because even though I can straight stream PlayStation,
Yeah, and maybe it's just because I've been doing YouTube for this for a while, but I want the control to be able to send it to my computer and just edit out the parts that I want. I don't want to just just upload the entire thing. I kind of like Let's Play styles, kind of like Markiplier, Oversoul Gaming, and of course, I would be ashamed if I didn't mention my absolute favorite, Darklight Dreamer. I might be biased there, but he is brilliant. Huh. It's kind of ironic that it turns out the sergeant actually has the least amount of gold because I ran out of Mark III legs. Can record up to an hour of gameplay at a time, edit it on the PlayStation, or put it on a USB and edit it at your PC. I didn't know that I could use a USB to put it on my computer to edit. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that, Zane. That's a great tip. Man, I appreciate that, man. That's a really great tip. Heck, you guys might see a couple of Frost and Fist Let's Plays sooner than you think. I don't know. Of course, I barely have time to paint these days, so I mean, really, I got to get time to actually, sit down and play a game. But man, that might be a thing I do then. Yeah, but it won't look as good, and the editing will be super limited. I believe any file can be transferred with a storage device.
Dad, love you.
Good night, kiddo. Love you.
Hello. Y'all can hear me, but.
Good night, kiddo.
Good night, Dad.
Love you.
What?
Love you too.
Okay,
Hello.
Your hand too. Go on. I'm stealing the show.
So that's pretty cool, guys. I might do some more research into that. Editing on PlayStation sucks, just move it over. Okay, I might give that a go, my brother. I gotta stop shaking these up right here by the microphone. I'm sure that's a super annoying sound, guys. I apologize. I decided, as I was doing the gold, I wanted to come in here and just reinforce the shadows under the cylinders of the thrusters. Because I have them way more pronounced. Like if you look on this half-finished guy, I have them way more pronounced on this one. Once again, guys, I really, really appreciate everybody coming and hanging out on a random Thursday that I didn't even advertise. You guys are just such awesome people. I just use OBS on the PC. That's exactly what I'm using right now is OBS on the PC. Apologize if I go just a mite quieter than before. I'm just trying to really focus on keeping these lines relatively straight. Why I'm trying to make straight lines in the middle of a live stream when I'm talking and stuff like that instead of waiting until, I'm off camera to do more complex tasks like straight lines, because your brother can't draw straight lines for nothing. Yep, and I already have made one stray mark. I'll come back and clean that up here in a second. Man, on this one I'm not reinforcing any shadows. There's none at all. It's like I skipped this whole cylinder here on my first go around. You guys ever do anything like that? Get sidetracked with something, whether you're talking or something like that, and you come to find that you missed a whole something, like a whole arm, a whole leg, something that should be symmetrical? Damn. He wants to cuss. Y'all talking about me? The dog does distract. Yep. Puppers can want for attention sometimes. Uh-oh. 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 What's going on with her? Okay, I saw the circle symbol. Is the stream frozen for you guys, or is that just me?
So far it looks fine over here.
Okay, I think it was just my end. Man. I hate when I prime something, and we have a shepherd that sheds a lot. Her name is Commander the Shepherd. Get it? Get it? And she sheds so much that sometimes when I go to prime or varnish something, it won't be till a moment too late that I'll realize, or sometimes it won't even be until I'm painting the model sometime later on, that a commander hair has adhered itself to the surface. That's frustrating. So then I'll pull it off, and then underneath the primer, you'll just see one perfect zigzag line of where commander hair used to be. Your dog doesn't shed. Jealous. I keep trying to tell Commander that somebody needs to nerf her spawn rate on the shedding hair. She just looks at me weird every time I tell her. Commander, pulls nerf. Nerf pulls. She doesn't shed. He doesn't shed because he's a good dog. Kaiju, my man. Kaiju, good to see you, man. So Kaiju, I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you. Something I was telling the chat is that I will not be with Freak tomorrow because tomorrow is the lovely Lily's birthday, and I will be spending the evening with her. You know, we'll be getting some sushi to go. We'll be watching some movies at home together. Even though we can't go out and turn up the town, you know, we can still have a birthday celebration, you know, here on our own. So I'll be spending tomorrow with Lily for her birthday. So I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you. I will be using the Art of Week that you submitted and your assistance with the Elston Nation research next week. So I really appreciate you, my man. I just don't want you to think I've forgotten about you. Good night, Hellchild, my brother. Get some rest, my man. You definitely need it. And Hellchild says, happy early birthday, Lily.
Yay, thank you.
I definitely thank you for, you know, being part of the show, Kaiju, my man. I've been telling Lily all day that it's her birthday eve, and so as part of the birthday eve, we need to do things like, you know, set her stockings out at night and stuff like that. You got another happy birthday from Kaiju?
Thank you. I would type it out in chat myself, but I'm in the middle of a match right now.
You're playing Overwatch, right?
Yes.
That might have been fun to stream before when I was half decent. Overwatch. Now I am like really lame at Overwatch. And you have a hi from Zane.
Hi.
Unless that hi is for Kaiju. I'm not sure.
If that was for me, then hi. If it was not, well, that's just awkward.
It's only awkward if you let it be awkward.
Well, yeah, I don't want that to be awkward.
While
It's funnier that way.
while I had my Black Templar out earlier, I forgot to get these little areas between the armor. So we're going to go ahead and take a minute to let that happen. As Freak always says, just let it happen. Okay, Zane confirmed it was for you. It's not awkward. So Kaiju, my man, what awesome monsters are you working on this week? Well, monsters or Gundams. Birthday Eve, gotta leave a plate out with cookies and paint a cross over your door in blood. You know, the huge. How did I miss a whole butt cheek? Man, this is what happens when I get to run in my mouth. I was like, okay, am I ready to put up this Black Templar yet? Nope, whole butt cheek. Darklight thinks it would be funny for my first Let's Plays to be for horror games because I am awful at horror games. I am the kind of person who will panic, and not just panic, but panic and freeze, or panic and panic fire and waste all my ammo, or that kind of thing. It's funny. I did a guest spot on one of his episodes on his channel, Darklight Dreamer, when Farpoint came out in VR for the first time. It was like the release day, that they released the rifle for the PSVR, and I got it on launch day. We played it for his channel, and I'm an arachnophobic, and the whole first level is spiders. The whole first few levels are all spiders. They're aliens, but they look like spiders. And they skitter like spiders, and they jump at your face in a way that feels like I would imagine a spider jumping at my face. There's a lot of me freaking out, and it's not even a horror game. It's an action game. That is a great game. I freaking love that game. I've played through it twice, and I've started a third playthrough. Mostly because the first time I finished playing it on the account that I started on, but since we were doing it for Darklight's Let's Play, I finished it on his account, and then I wasn't paying attention the second time and finished it on Lily's account, and so now I actually need to finish it on my account. Yeah, exactly. You have an assault rifle, but somehow I still panic and freak out because, arachnophobia is an irrational fear, right? So yeah, I freak out. There's a lot of me just freaking out, panic firing, and just incoherently babbling, and just because there are spiders jumping at my face. So, yeah, that's a little fun. And so Darklight thinks I should do a horror game, and then I'm actually doing a couple of proper horror games. You shoot the dang spiders. Well, I'm trying, man, but I don't always get to them before they get to my face. Okay, especially when they like several of them pile up on you at a time. But then also, a couple of proper. I'll never forget our first little venture into VR was this VR game that was. I can't remember what system it was on, but it was called Pupil, and it's basically a walking simulator. You know, you're on a pre-planned walk path. Your only options are what you inspect and what you're investigating the school after hours that's supposed to be haunted, and so your only real options is what you're investigating and stuff like that. But like the walking paths and all that are pre-planned, and it's it's like an Asian kind of Japanese schoolhouse, and we used to have a little phone recording, but I think Darklight has since switched phones. But it was me playing Pupil, and it was my first experience into VR, and man, it just never really like occurred to me that when you see stuff in a horror game on the screen, at least it's over there on a horror screen. But when you see horror stuff in VR, it's like there, like in your face, breathing on you, And so anyways, I made it to the nurse's office in Pupil. And spoiler alert for like a 5-year-old game, if anybody's going to be playing this at any point in the future. But I made it to the nurse's office, and you get into the nurse's office, and very, very trademark, very Silent Hill-esque, you get into the nurse's office, there is a lamp on behind a screen, like one of those separating patients kind of like curtain or whatever. And there's someone sitting on the bed in the behind the screen where the light is on, and the lights are out all over the school. This is like one of the few lights that are on. The big bright yellow lamp, and you can see the silhouette or outline of somebody sitting on the cot in the nurse's office, and you hear crying. It's like a schoolgirl crying. And I'm like, man, I don't want to walk over there. I really don't want to walk over there. And so I had to like psych myself up to it. One step, and then the next step, and then the next step, and I got to where I could just lean around the corner. And I peer around the corner, and no one's on the bed. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I walk over, and there's something on the, one of the nightstands. It's a little picture, that kind of gives a little background of a girl that used to go to the school. And then I checked the bed where the person was supposed to be sitting, but when I peeked around the corner, there was no one there. And then I looked back from the other side of the curtain, and it looked like they were there. And I looked back, and there was no one there. And so I go and I examine the bed. And I'm like, wow, okay, so there's nothing here. I found a picture. And I go to turn around. And there is a mannequin that is just got like, nurses' needles all stabbed into it and scalpels. And it's just right there, right? And its face is just covered in these needles and scissors. And like it was just right there. And so I turn and I look at it, and I freak the flip out, and I am, for some reason, swinging at this invisible video game, or, not invisible, but this not real apparition in front of me. Yeah, apparently that's my reaction, is I try to fight things that scare me in VR games.
Ooh, I know, you could play Five Nights at Freddy's VR.
No, I can't. No, I can't. But Lily and Darklight had a good laugh at me.
Well, it was hilarious.
Let's see. I moved to Spain 3 years ago. I lifted up my bag from the floor, an apartment, and a lizard came running out from under. I almost shat my pants. Rush of Blood is good. I really enjoyed, for someone who doesn't like, and admittedly, a lot of people probably didn't find Rush of Blood scary. I found Rush of Blood scary, and I really enjoyed the crap out of that. But I think it was just I think it was just the roller coaster shooting simulator that I really enjoyed. Even though some parts, like, the zombies coming at you and stuff like that, they do a really good job of doing the sounds in your ear, like right behind you and stuff like that. So it was really tense, but I still really enjoyed it. I've been watching a friend play Resident Evil 3, and he had a little panic seeing a monster threw a flash grenade that bounced backwards off the door frame, blinded himself, and got smashed. See, that would be me. Japanese schoolgirls, noise. I have a female friend who I had over and messed with her a bit and got pistol whipped with a move controller. Yeah, you got to be away from people when they're freaking out in VR. I need a good horror video game. I loved Until Dawn. Man, if you loved Until Dawn, the same makers, I don't know if you've played it yet. It's in the same universe called Man of Medan. So freaking good. So freaking good. I highly, highly recommend it. And they're doing a third installment called Hope. Little Hope. So good. Like, highly, highly recommend. I think June or July, Little Hope is supposed to be out. Definitely recommend looking up a trailer for that. But also highly, 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 highly recommend Man of Medan. It's so good. It's everything that you had in Until Dawn, except because the Until Dawn was their first one, their practice with this kind of story. They didn't have everything fully as fleshed out, right? So with this one, they really took their time with Man of Medan. And it's like, imagine Until Dawn, but they actually do a good job of tying you to the characters and making you care about the characters. And not every character is a dick. They're actually like, I mean, you can play them that way as they're all jerks. But they're actually, on their own, pretty likable characters. I love The Forest. We finally put the time to get the ending so good and creepy. I missed one. Need to go back. I got some practice streaming with my mate Sergeant Paul. The hardest part is keeping the humor more clean with your mates, especially with our lovely Australian vocabulary. I can see that. That's awesome. I don't think I've even seen a trailer for The Forest. Although I have heard Freak talk about it. Confused?
Yeah, they look like the same brand.
They're the exact same glue. That big one's a refill for the other one.
Oh.
Yep. If anyone's looking to upgrade their super glue, Bob Smith Industries, my favorite super glue in the world. Had to buy a big old bottle of it just because I absolutely love this stuff.
This one's hot from being near your computer.
Mm-hmm. I kind of love playing jerk characters where there's the moral choice. That's cool, man. You do you. I feel like for some reason, anytime I play these moral choice games, it's not enough to make good decisions. I feel like I typically have to play the pillar of light kind of good, the goody two shoes, because I always end up feeling for everyone, except in Until Dawn. Some of those guys were real jerks, and I was just like, I'm not sure I really, am excited about any of these people living. Oh, dude, I got about 4 bottles of Bob Smith Industries Instacure Best Glue for Magnets on Plastic. You're absolutely right. I love using it for all my magnet work. It does great work on my basing work. Putting cork together or adding some stone-like texture to cork. I mean, it's just good stuff. And then, of course, I use it on minis because I feel like, if there are gaps and whatnot, as long as it's not a very super pronounced gap, it does a pretty good job filling in the little gaps. Mass Effect 2, where your guy shows glowing robotic implants, the more evil you get. Was my good guy look like he was just permanently on fire? See, I always got to go Paragon Shepherd. New one got tactical dudes and assault rifles. Kind of curious how that will change stuff. Much easier to kill melee enemies when you have a rifle. Yeah. The characters in Until Dawn were unlikable preppy kids. Exactly. And there's a little bit of that in Man of Medan, except they're just more likable. Like I said, I highly, highly recommend it.
Would I be able to play Until Dawn?
Hmm?
Would I be able to play Until Dawn?
I don't think so, kiddo. Not yet. Yep. Armskeeper super glue. Yep. Armskeeper is amazing. But it's the same stuff, Archer. It's the same. The Bob Smith Industries and the Armskeeper, they're the same. It's just a label difference. Wonder how they will compensate. Thoughts, Weather Pig? She is not old enough.
For what?
Oh, they just asked how old you are.
Oh.
Go lay down.
I'm in 12.
Go lay down, child.
It is way past your bedtime, kiddo. And as per usual, we'll probably go another 15 minutes and then call it at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. I say as per usual, like, you know, we have consistent ending times on our live streams. The idea is usually somewhere around, 11, but the execution can vary. Your mileage may vary. The new force should be okay, but it will not replace the old one. They should just add more mutants. I think I've heard Freak talk about the Force before, but never seen it myself. Speaking of Let's Plays, and I know this is a hobby channel, and I've been on a tangent about talking about video games for a while. One of my favorite Let's Plays is a game called Simulacra by Jacksepticeye, and one of the actresses who plays Anna in it, I follow her work and stuff like that on Instagram, and she was doing a cooking video today, which I thought was cool, so I tuned in to watch while I was working and stuff like that. And she was doing a Q&A while she was cooking. She was taking questions about Simulacra. And so, since she was taking questions, I asked her if she had any particular favorites that do Let's Plays of her game. And she said that I mentioned that Jacksepticeye was my favorite person who played Simulacra. And she said that her answer was the same. She loved Jacksepticeye too. And I thought that was pretty cool that, an actress of the video game, not only followed somebody who was doing a Let's Play of her game, but, could cite them right off the bat. So jealous. One of my friends, Brother Meeks, you probably see him pretty often on the Friday night live chats, hit me up today saying that he got his Ragnar in. I'm really jealous. You see, I didn't pre-order my Ragnar I was going to split the box when it got here to the shops. And yeah, now it turns out that I'm not going to be able to split the box. And of course, everything went on lockdown, so I wasn't able to get the box anyways. But I would still like to get the box, get me a Ragnar, maybe even a Gazgul. But man, gotta wait for stuff to open back up. But this is interesting because this is one of those times where pre-ordering really did make a difference, And a lot of the times with these new releases and stuff like that, I just wait until it hits the shelves and go pick it up from my friendly local. I don't normally bother with the pre-ordering. However, this time it really, really made a difference. Pre-ordered, I think, twice since I started collecting. Forge Bane I picked up whenever it came out. Let's see, the Space Wolf stuff when it first came out for 8th edition. I pre-ordered all that, which was cool. Because, man, they had hit the wolves hard with the Nerf hammer whenever 8th edition rolled out. But, I felt like our codex gave us back a good chunk of the strength that we were missing. Not as much as this, new Space Marine codex did. That really beefed up my wolves a lot more than they were. But I thought it was a good take, so that was worth pre-ordering. Plus, I got the collector's edition from GW. And then the other thing I pre-ordered, I think, was Burning of Prospero. And that's it. Those are the only 2 times I've really done pre-orders. And like I said, this time it's funny because pre-orders really made a difference this go-around. TMP did pre-order one. So he was able to get one even though everything went on lockdown. Connections. He's finding a new girl. Lily, wait, what?
Talking about that actress chick from Sri Lanka.
Oh. I don't even remember her name. I just remember she's Anna from Simulacra. That's a great icebreaker. Yeah, I don't remember your name. I just know the character you played. Modern Warfare 2 came out remastered, where you shoot up an airport. Modern Warfare 2 is out remastered? Oh, Modern Warfare is where I started my Call of Duty gaming, and I felt like it never got better than Modern Warfare. So I'm really stoked to hear that. Man, on the ice base in Modern Warfare 2, Freak and I used to go to the ice base, and there was one room where it was like there was a generator on one side of the room and this big open bay window, kind of like a storefront or something like that. And we would get in that room and lock it down. And we would get in that room and lock it down, and we would be able to hold that room for like the entire match. It was great. I think he was going LMG at the time, and I was going with assault rifle. Man, that was some good times. I've not seen crap about it since it was remastered. Interesting. I remember that airport level. All the talk about gaming, I have a comment about something game related I find funny. Everyone threw a fit because there's a baby and a couple killable civilians. I seem to remember that in the campaign. Yeah, getting in the ice space room and chill out. That's what it used to be. We used to. That was our lock it down spot. We'd be on headsets. We'd get that level.
It used to be just we would call it out, lock it down. We knew exactly where to go. We would come in from both entrances, so that way, if one person was camping one corridor, the other one would get them climbing over through the little window area. I mean, we had that place on lockdown. Now, of course, this is just against other random people online. Like, we weren't like competitive level, or anything like that. But it was just good times playing with other people online. Yeah, everybody's hypersensitive about that kind of stuff these days, Zane. Probably too much. All right, so next is, and we're not going to do it tonight because I've only got 5 minutes left, but next I'm going to do red hoses here on the backpack, and then I'm going to do red for the power fist to be like the claws on my Contemptor Dreadnought. I also did that one with a red glove and white claws, and I liked the way that came out, so I plan on replicating that. And yeah, that'll be my next step. And then of course for this one and this one, it'll be time to paint up the shoulder pads and helmets, do the basing, and that'll be my first squad of 5 all complete. So they'll actually be, they'll be ready to play, even though we have no idea when we'll next get our games in. But just knowing that I have a squad ready, it's just, feels better. Anyways, watching you paint got me motivated. That's awesome. What you painting, baby? Actually, painting here with you guys got me motivated. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Right before this, Lily and I were watching some NXT together. And she was like, so aren't you going to go do your painting thing? And I was like, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of lazy now. But, getting up and hanging with you guys actually got me motivated to, get some painting in. And honestly, I'm actually surprised how quickly that went, because I'm almost caught up with this one in just one session of sitting down and painting with you guys. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to, you guys let me know what you think, but I think I'm going to need to do this a little more often so that way we can get some stuff done together. I really enjoyed this. I did steel and dark wash on 5 infiltrators. That's awesome. That's a very chaosy looking power fist, and it's from the Betrayal of Calth set, so it probably goes to, one of the word bearer guys. So it probably is chaosy. I just thought it was a pretty cool, ornate looking power fist, though. It should be a claw, but I just think it looks power fisty. It is an oversized fist, so it's going to be a power fist for me. Same for that Night Lord looking raptor I've been playing with. Very cool. Does it make me a bad person? I don't think so. I think in video games, people always kind of try and test those limits. Can I kill these civilians? Can I jump off this ledge? People like to try and test the limits especially when they're doing a new kind of, they're in a new game, or they're checking out a remaster or something like that. So at least that's what Rob from PlayStation Access, one of my favorite video game channels, PlayStation Access, and then the Outside series, Outside Xbox, Outside Access. So I think those are all really great channels. And Rob, he's like that in every game. He always tries to kill the civilians to see if he can. He always tries to jump off the ledges to see if he can. That's just his thing. Anyways, you guys let me know if you enjoyed this little just chill and chat and paint. I want to do more of these. And if you guys think it's a good idea, I'm probably going to take this up and make this a more frequent occurrence. If you guys like tonight's episode, please make sure that you grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Toss me some comments down below and let me know what you think. And if you got anything painted tonight, do like the Smash Captain Archer there and let me know what you painted. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to this channel, then Freakalicious, that Smash Captain there, Archer, and this guy would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with me tonight, guys. I absolutely love this test. So I'll see you guys next time, and make sure you stay frosty.